Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over the John Deere S240. These are going to be the upgrades and kind of features of this machine for 2026. We've had a few of them. Let's get after it. The S240, let's talk about where it sits in the lineup. So they've got the entry-level S Series mowers, that's the S100 Series mowers. And then if you step up a little bit, we jump into the S200 Series. Why is the S200 Series a little bit more kind of exclusive? Well, because it's dealer only. So you can only get this machine at a certified John Deere dealership like Papé Machinery. And so the S Series mowers are the S220 and the S240. Obviously, this is an S240. And then this one comes in two different configurations as well. So you can either get it with the 42-inch deck or the 48-inch deck like you see here. So let's go ahead and start at the front. We'll work our way back and I'll talk about some of those new improvements, and we'll start right up in the front. We've got a nice bumper in the front, right? Awesome. This is something that we've seen on the S240s in the past, but what we haven't seen in the S240s is these new LED headlights. Again, those S-Series mowers are starting to get all those new LED headlights. Well, we're gonna see that kind of trickle up into the S220 lineup. And then of course you've got that familiar pattern on the side that we're very, very used to. That nice John Deere branding that's very, very congruent with all of the rest of our machines. I lift up the hood, and then you're gonna find one of the first really, really nice features of the S240, and that's the 21.5 horsepower Kawasaki engine. That 21.5 horsepower engine is the same engine that you're gonna find in our X Series lineup, so starting up at the X350. That is a great tried and true engine for us. It's a well-known that this is the Kawasaki is the industry leader. And so this one is no different. This has got that Kawasaki 21.5 horsepower. Of course, all the maintenance points on there are very easy to get to. I do have a nice placard on the top that's gonna have all of my maintenance intervals. Okay, so let's jump up here into one of the nicest features that I've seen on this new S240, and that's the seat. So the seat is a 15-inch two-piece high-back seat with cut and sew pattern in here. I'm gonna say this is a marked improvement over the last seat as far as comfort goes. This seat feels just a lot nicer to be in than the last seat. I also think that this may be a preview of what's to come in some of our next X Series mowers. Some of these things I think will trickle their way up the lineup. For example, I've been asked a lot in the comments about LED headlights coming to the X3s. I've got to assume it's coming. It's probably going to be here shortly. Eventually, you know, we've seen the cut and sew in the X380s and above. I've got to imagine that'll make its way into the X350 eventually. This may be a preview of what's to come. The other new feature is in the covered storage compartment. So covered storage compartment on the right-hand side, you've got the cup holder back there, covered storage. In the covered storage area, you have a USB-C charging port. So I think that'll also make its way in the rest of the lineup eventually. I've seen it in a couple machines. We have it in the Z370Rs, our electric machine. So I've got to imagine it's probably going to proliferate the rest of the lineup here very shortly. Dash layout on this is just like we've seen in the years past. You do have a fuel gauge that's up here front and center that's incorporated with your hour meter. I've got the divorce choke levers. I do have my park brake. I have a push button for reverse. And then on the right-hand side, I've got a key ignition switch. And then this is also how I would turn on my LED headlights. And I've got a electronic PTO engagement, and I do have cruise control on this machine, so that's very nice. I have two touch pedals on the right-hand side, one to go forward, one to go back, super simple. Of course, I've got the padding underneath the feet here, so it's gonna isolate me from some of those bumps and bruises that I'm gonna get out there on the terrain. I do have a spring-loaded mower deck height adjustment from 1 inch all the way up to 4 inches in 1/4 inch increments. Let's talk about this 48-inch deck that you're seeing on here. Again, 10-gauge steel deck on this one. I've got the nice spring-loaded access to my spindles. I do have grease certs on all my spindles so I can maintain the machine. And of course, I've got those nice anti-scalping wheels that I can adjust both down and up, just in case my terrain is a little bit more undulating than others. I do have nice integrated handles. So if I'm kind of doing on some hills, I've got some handles on the side that are incorporated into those big fender extensions. We need some fender extensions because we've got nice big tires on this machine. You're gonna have a 20 by 10 by 8 on the back and a 15 by 6 by 6 in the front on this machine. So like in years past, you're gonna see underneath the seat, this is where we're gonna fill the fuel at. We've got 2.4 gallons worth of fuel capacity in this machine, so nice long run times with that very fuel efficient 21.5 horsepower Kawasaki engine. Coming around to the backhand side, I do have a tow hitch on the back of this, and so I can tow up to 500 pounds of capacity. So if I'm, pulling an aerator, pulling a cart, those kind of things, I have the ability. That about sums it up for the John Deere S240 for 2026. You're welcome to watch my previous video on the S240 to kind of see the comparison. Not a whole lot of groundbreaking changes, but just enough to keep it refreshed. If you've got questions, please comment down below. Stay tuned. I'll bring you those improvements to the channel. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you again on the next Papé Toolkit.